It's Tuesday, November 15th, 2011. I'm Rim, and this is Geeknights. Tonight, returning from Burning Apocalypse Con 11/11/11, we have Jared Sorensen.
Let's do this. I promise, it's corny. It's bad.
All right,
It's
did you want to introduce him then?
Yeah, I'm gonna introduce him with my bad joke.
All right, that is all you.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Welcome to Geeknights podcast.
It takes a long time.
You're in a room with two morons.
So we're actually here with three morons. We've got, I didn't come up with a funny title. I called Luke like the right and honorable just to see if he'd react to it. And the fact that he did was funny.
The wrong and dishonorable.
We're here with Jared Sorensen, the creator of Parsley games such as Action Castle and Z Ward. He's not talking, so we have no proof that he's actually here. We've also got Teller of Penn and Teller.
That was even less funny
He's laughing
than my joke.
He's laughing now.
Okay.
At this point, I think the listeners are actually wondering whether or not we've got anyone in here.
Dude, we should fake guests more often.
We should.
Hayao Miyazaki. On Wednesday, we'll interview him.
Hideo Kojima.
Sure. Oh, that's so interesting. And they'll just pretend like his microphone is broken the whole time, and it'll just be like, well, we released our half of the interview. We lost the other part. So, Jared, you going to say something?
Yeah, I'm just trying not to laugh.
That's fine. So, I guess we better start off with talking about your big activity here on the kickstarting, right? You got the new Parsley game and whatnot?
I am raising a buttload of money.
Oh, my God, a buttload?
A buttload.
That's nice.
An English arseload.
So this is for Z Ward, the zombie apocalypse survival Parsley game?
Kinda, yeah.
I mean, I played
Ish.
through the first bit of it before we got kicked out of Burning Apocalypse Con.
Right, so you know what it's about.
It's about zombies.
It's about zombies. You are in a mental asylum, and you have to rescue your sister.
Oh, see, I didn't even get that. I thought it was just a regular old hospital.
Nope.
Scott, you didn't read like the title screen.
No, I didn't read shit at all. I was mostly worried. I was mostly worried about how I can make it as difficult as possible for the other people.
You can see that picture of me someone posted where I'm standing there and I was literally thinking, inject syringe into self. And then I decided not to do it. But I so wanted to.
You cannot do that.
I think you need to be a little more dickish and willing to let people kill themselves in public events like that, maybe.
Have you played fucking like any of the other Parsley games?
Yeah, I'm really dickish. No, it's just the syringe doesn't kill you. The syringe kills you in Space Station.
Oh, yeah. I guess in this one it would just sedate you.
Spoiler.
So how many Parsley games are there now? I haven't even played all of them at this point.
There are, I'm not including the little ones. So
Like
basically the
goat
numbered
and the
ones.
Blackboard?
Blackboard Jungle, Death World, and Flaming Goat.
Flaming Goat. That's a great one.
Those are the mini ones. But the major like numbered ones, Z Ward will be number 7.
Mm. Are you planning to just continue as long as it's successful, or?
Yes.
So it says here, let's see, you're currently at, over 5 Gs. That's a lot of money.
Woo! What's
for
the
a
number
piece
right
of
now? Because
cardboard.
I don't know.
The number 5,322.
That's
with 201 people. So those people are paying individually a lot of monies.
That is crazy.
And you have 15 days.
I have a lot of things to mail out in December.
Right,
December, I'm going to be like.
Basically, these people are paying an average of what's 5,000 divided by 200, like $50 for a piece of cardboard.
No.
No. Okay.
8 pieces of cardboard.
Oh, really?
A T-shirt. Yeah, you get 8 games. You get a T-shirt. You get a patch, a cool patch. You get some buttons. Kids love buttons.
Look at that.
So you get all sorts of stuff.
I see nobody has paid the 1,500.
Nobody.
Jared coming to your house.
You know what? I thought the Danes would come through to get me to Festival in April.
Yeah, didn't you go to that last time or something?
I went to that last year with Luke.
How was that?
It was ridiculously fun.
I would like to go to that in Essen. I really want to go to, and I'm trying to swing some business to have an excuse to be over in Germany right around Essen time.
Yeah, yeah, you should definitely do that.
Let's go on a tangent. What's it like over there?
It's crazy. I really want to go to the Finnish Game Con for a bunch of reasons. But the Danish Con Festival, it's weird. It's not typical role playing. It's not what you think about. It's not a bunch of people sitting around a table with dice and screens and character sheets. It's a lot of essentially like improv acting. Like you get a scenario, which is, the scenarios are weird. Most of them are realistic, historical, or kind of literary. The one I was in was like a Lars von Trier movie. It was called Easter, a Tragedy, and I played the son in a 4-person household. My sister and I had come back from Copenhagen to visit our family out in the country, and so we visited mom and dad. And in the game, we actually went to this the con. That part of the con was held in classrooms, and we actually knocked on the door of the classroom. Our mom and dad let us in, and we sat down and actually ate Easter dinner. Did I say
Was there actual
Easter?
food?
Is Easter a Tragedy?
It was actual food.
Actual food.
Wow.
Like you didn't have to go get lunch because the food was part
Like,
of the game.
It was brown bread, butter, pickled herring.
Historically accurate food.
It was all like traditional Easter,
Who brought this
Danish
food?
Easter. The GM, the
Really?
guy who wrote
That's
the
the
scenario.
Was the
job.
GM one of the players, or was it GM?
The GM was okay. So here's the weird thing about Danish tradition: the GM is essentially the director. So if he doesn't like how things are going, he will step in and he will whisper in your ear, "Be more intense," or
Wow.
"You feel very sad about this."
Well, Luke does that to me when I play in his games.
Are you gonna let him get away with that? He just doesn't whisper it. He yells it at you.
but I mean, the Danish guys will actually. We were in things where they made us redo scenes that they didn't feel we captured the
Were
moment.
they recording these on video?
No. It was
It's
it's
only
weird.
for their
that
temporary
almost
pleasure.
that almost might cheapen it in that it like without having a record, you only have the rosy memory. Like
So there's so this isn't like there's no rules book you can buy for this, right?
No,
It's just-
no,
you
there's
just do it.
scenarios. Oh, the scenario tradition, it's weird because they'll have people write scenarios, and the role of the writer is huge. Like, RPGs, whatever, you come with a scenario, who cares? It's all about the players, play. In Denmark, it's all about the writer of the scenario and the person who runs it. And it's basically the writer's vision and the director's implementation of that
So you're
vision.
just a tool. As the
You're
player.
essentially, it's like George Lucas directing his human actors,
Right.
where he just kind of treats them as the same as the CG actors. It's weird. We had one player in one of the games I was in actually run out of the room crying, and she quit the game because it got really intense.
wow.
Wow.
So I got a question. Do you think we could sell something like that? Not monetary, not commercialized, but like get people in the US to play a game like this?
Totally. No problem.
So-
I could rewrite Easter, a Tragedy for an American audience, which it basically just involves changing maybe the holiday and definitely
language?
changing the food. Well, the language, I had an English version of it.
Oh, that's cool.
But pretty much straight up run it. You are a conservative family out in the Midwest. You're home from the big city.
From the military.
Whatever, whatever.
I'm liking
And
this already.
The interesting thing about Easter, which I didn't explain, is every the game is divided into phases, and essentially the game ends when the good mood at the table is broken. So when a fight breaks out, or when somebody cries, or when something bad happens.
Ah.
And the thing is, once you eat dinner, there's a set ritual about what you eat when and what you talk about and stuff like that. And it's weird talking about basically making small talk with people you don't know in real life, who are portraying people that you don't know because you haven't met them before in the game, but you're supposed to intimately know them because you're a family. Really weird. But by the second phase, it was easy. So the first phase, you go through dinner and blah, 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 blah. And then the mother says, well, you should probably be heading back. It's getting dark. And that's the cue for everybody to basically say their goodbyes, shake hands, hug, whatever, and then leave. And then the GM hands out little secrets about what happened in that year. And then you go back and you play the next year Easter dinner.
Oh.
And you do this
Oh.
over and over and over again,
Oh.
which meant I ate a lot of pickled herring during that game, which thankfully I like that stuff. But it was, it was rough.
That's
'cause-
some good stuff. We gotta get that gaming concept into US gamers.
So was everyone at the con playing Easter, or were there just a bunch of different?
No, there was.
scenarios all over
I
the-
think there were 4 sessions of Easter going on concurrently, and that's
Okay,
the other
so,
thing.
Yeah, so there weren't that many scenarios. They were doing the same one a lot.
Well, here's the thing. It's really weird. Is what they'll do is they'll hand off. They'll write the scenario. They'll hand it off to a bunch of GMs, and a bunch of GMs at the con will run the same scenario for a bunch of groups.
Oh.
So it's not like this one game system being run by many people, but it's different scenarios or adventures, or whatever. It's like, no, you're running Easter, a Tragedy. You're running Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. You're running 15 Men. And there's a meeting where you actually get the materials. And sometimes that's the first time you've seen this stuff. So you read it, the GMs read it, and then they run it
Oh,
immediately afterwards.
That could even work with just our kind of tabletop RPGs where, you go to a con, someone writes up like 3 Burning Wheel Mouse Guard scenarios for the con.
and just hands them out.
You get 10 GMs over and you're like, here's the scenarios, everyone go and run them, and then it's like players, here's all the tables.
There's an
sit at
interesting
one.
kind of mechanism designed to that of the whole con, and that now all these players who play in these games have a shared but disparate experience, which forces them to talk to each other. Oh, how did your
Yeah.
Easter go?
Well-
Everybody died.
Well, Easter theoretically will last until the mood is broken. We went, I think, 3 or 4 years before my sister and father got into an argument about drinking because she did not want to tell him she was pregnant because he would have flipped out. And so he was like, "Oh, why are you being rude? Why, I'm just trying to be hospitable. Why are you being, so rude and so bratty?" And they got into a screaming match and the game ended.
Oh, because
But-
he wanted her to drink. And
Yeah,
she
and
didn't
she was
want
like,
to.
"No," but she doesn't want to say, "I'm pregnant, I can't drink." She just has to say, "No, I'm not feeling like it." He's like, "Oh, your brother's
nice.
going to drive," or
That's good.
whatever.
See, but that's good on the writer there coming up with that.
It's really
Clever
good.
one.
So what happens in the 5th year is the father drops dead at the table of a heart attack. So no matter what happens, the game ends after like 5 years. But man, that 5th year, it's like a Darren Aronofsky film. Everybody's secrets that you get, it's just like, oh my God, I want to kill myself. This is so depressing.
I feel like it solves a big problem. I mean, even at Burning Apocalypse Con, like the so-called hardcore, like we are hardcore role players, let's go. It is
You
so
have no idea what hardcore is until you've been to Denmark.
This is like a guy coming up to me like, I'm a metalhead. I listen to Metallica every day.
No. There's one game, a very controversial game. I don't even know if I should talk about it on your show.
We don't care.
It's
So it's up to you.
called, and I'm spacing on the title, something about the fat man.
All right. Is it insulting to fat people?
Yes.
Okay, that's cool.
Extremely. So here's how you play. Everybody plays.
How much do you have to eat in that one?
Well, I will explain.
Free infinite
So
McDonald's.
what
if you go
happens is
there?
the fattest
people got
the
gypped.
fattest male player in the game session plays the fat man.
That might prove contentious in the U.S.
Well, get out the scales.
Oh, it is.
Get out the scales and the measuring tape. So the largest male player plays the fat man. Everybody else plays the friends of the fat man, and I'm kind of air quoting friends because what the friends of the fat man do during the game is insult the fat man, constantly berate and belittle him. The fat man has a pocket full of candy, and whenever he eats a piece of candy, they have to stop berating and belittling him and actually compliment him and act really super nice to him, like the fat man is their best friend.
Wow, that's already a little messed up.
No, it gets better.
Could he constantly get more
It
messed
gets
up?
so much better.
If he cuts
So-
himself, then they have to like suck his junk.
So
or
the
what?
fat man the fat man character is given a safe word, which if the game gets too stressful and intense, he can say the safe word and the game will end. Except privately, the friends of the fat man are told to ignore the safe word.
Wow.
So the game ends when the fat man gets so upset that he actually leaves. And the game is supposed to. And I love, this is what's great about Denmark because everything has this deep meaning to it. And they're very serious and very earnest. They're really cool, but it's kind of comical because the scenario guy's like, yes, this is, and I can't really do a Danish accent, but yes, this, because the game is to make you feel guilty about being so mean to the fat man. And that's what the game's about your shame. And I'm like, it just
What
seems
about
like
the-
abuse to
Yeah,
me.
don't hate the player. hate the
Yeah, it's
game.
like you're teaching the people, the players, a lesson. Well, what about the fat man? What
Yeah,
lessons
he's
he learned?
crying in the dark.
Right.
I feel like you could
He's
make
sacrificed for the better of the group.
have some experiences we've talked about at Geeknights back in the day with casting people out of the crew. It's very difficult when there's a guy that nobody's actually friends with, but he's really into tentacle porn. You're trying to make him leave you alone.
Yeah.
Finally, someone breaks it to him. You could make it the game that you give to people as the final resort.
Yes.
Hey, you want to play a game?
In case a bad
Oh.
gamer break glass,
Ga-
and inside
games-
is a copy
like
of
games as tools to actually change
That's what I'm
your
working
actual.
on. Scott, you're working on your YouTube game. My YouTube game is a card game that you play to decide what the fuck to do right now, who gets control of the internet TV.
That's what my
and
game does
you
the same thing.
Yes, but mine's a card game that also does meta stuff like, oh, we're ordering pizza. What's on
But that's
it?
actually a clever idea, right? Because like people always talk about, jokingly how like diplomacy's a friend killer or something, right?
Right.
Well, it's like, what if you want to get rid of some friends? You could make a game that helps you. It's like, or
last
maybe even
friend standing.
right, because most games they help you make friends, even if they're not designed specifically to do so.
Right.
You could probably make a game that is like the friend making game.
Right.
You need to make the girlfriend getting game.
Well, that's
I'll buy
Breaking
2
the Ice.
copies.
Emily Care Boss did that.
Did she?
Yep.
What's it called? I'm
It's
buying
called
it.
Breaking the Ice.
Is it sold?
There's actually a lot of like mini LARPs with simple rules that are designed for that. Like there's this pool one, you're all fish, you all have like goals in the pool.
Okay,
and-
all
Sure
I found
you
was
do.
don't break the ice with the hammer. What's the girl's name who made the game?
Emily Care Boss.
No, Scott, that's the game. Don't break the ice. You
It's
didn't read
not-
the rules?
Black
called
and Green
Breaking the
Games. Is that
Ice.
it?
It's about 3 first dates. And
Huh.
apparently,
This one?
that is it. Yeah. Apparently, people actually have gotten together after playing that game.
Huh.
Alrighty.
Nobody's gotten together after playing Action Castle though.
Well, there's too many people.
Although I've
right?
gotten
You
a hug.
could-
I've gotten a hug.
Okay, wait. No, Orgy Castle. I mean,
Somebody
With the
suggested
swingers.
the kinky parsley game. Maybe in the future. Playtesting that will be interesting.
not it.
I probably won't do it at Gen Con. Maybe PAX, but
PAX, MagFest has a surprising proportion, of like it's
gonna do it in-
50-50.
I'm gonna do it in Finland, 70-30. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if they have the real food, they've got to have the real sex too, right? I mean,
Apparently they have done LARPs.
Scott, RIT. It was exactly like
but you
that.
don't want those people,
I mean, they weren't role playing
Yeah, but
vampires. they
those are-
were vampires.
right? That's different people. Are they? Do they even count as people? I mean, come on.
well, they're vampires.
Whatever.
But to back up a little bit, the so-called hardcore like role players in America, even like the best role players I know will be in character for maybe 30 seconds of their great monologue, and then it always trails off into, yeah, I try to convince the guy to not kill my son.
it's role playing. It's not acting.
Yeah, but I feel like I don't know. The acting is
Acting helps. If you're a good actor, it helps.
but I like the games that trick people into acting.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like Burning Wheel's Duel of Wits kind of tricks people into like having a reasonable argument
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
interesting.
see, I actually don't know how well I would do. As cool as like the Danish thing sounds, it's like I'm not that good at acting. So like when it's so
Well,
free,
it
like
definitely makes you stretch. I
yeah.
mean,
But it's like, that's why I like when there's dice and stuff, not just because I like rolling
They-
dice, which I do, but
they do
because
not like dice over there.
right, but because it helps me suck less when I have some numbers to go by, right? It's like I'm a computer guy. I know how to make numbers go up. So
Right.
it's like I'll just do the thing I need to make those numbers go up, which happens to also be good acting at the same time.
Yeah, so you do this like you go between the two. Like I found, Scott, you personally, you role play better when you're not playing a character but you're playing an accent. If you
Right.
pick an accent, you play a good character.
Well, that's generally how
Talking
most
funny
people
voices.
go.
Yeah, that's we need to make that an RPG.
Oh, the accent RPG?
Ridiculous accent.
So, how did you come up with the idea for Action Cast? Like, what was the moment where you're sitting there and like, I should run this for a bunch of people?
I was at a party. I've told the story. Oh God, I just told the story in the Genosodes. Go listen to her podcast.
Ah.
Okay.
Okay.
Do that.
Nice plug.
There's a little plug for Jen. Yeah, listen to it. I've told the story a bunch of times.
I've actually
Basically,
never
I was
heard
at
it, though. It's weird.
I was at a party. We were kind of hanging out. I had this idea. I'm a big text adventure fan from my days of yore. I actually worked for Infocom as a 12-year-old, playtesting one of their games, and I got to tour their office and meet all the peeps there. And
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I actually have I was going through my box of sad memories, and in my box of sad memories is a T-shirt I made with Floyd the robot from Planet Fall, and on the back it says "I love Infocom," and it would barely fit a Cabbage Patch Kid. It's hilarious. I'm like, man, I was a tiny little kid. It's crazy. But yeah, I loved Infocom. I had a poster in my bedroom for years that said,
What kind of computer were you using for these Infocom games?
"Oh, Apple IIe."
Oh,
or
yeah. You
Apple II
actually
Plus.
owned an
Wow.
Apple IIe.
I owned a GS. I never played Infocom
I have a
games.
GS at my house right now.
Yeah, I played Wizardry all the time on my GS. Wizardry and Dungeon Master, and
have to
some
get a copy of
crappy
Wizardry.
games.
Yeah.
Keith the Thief.
The Apple II GS is probably the best computer there ever was.
That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's why I have one.
Because I know, our experience with Action Castle was you were just this weird guy, and
I
Luke was
still
Luke,
am a weird guy.
You are, but Luke Crane was
None
this
can
other
deny.
weird guy,
He's very weird,
and he was that weird guy who tricked us into playing a stupid game.
and I
And
tricked
the-
you into playing my stupid game.
Yep,
Yeah.
because we were at PAX. We did that Beyond Dungeons and Dragons. Like, you guys shouldn't play D&D.
Oh, that's right. Because we did the we got together. Everybody was like kind of milling around looking for something to do
because
after.
we were stupid. We were
And
like,
Lucas-
so
and
if
Lucas-
anyone wants to play this game, that's the guy who made it. Follow us out. We'll find a table.
Right.
And then
Luke was like,
I'll-
Jared's gonna do the thing, and I'm like, what thing?
Because we formed an angry mob of like 200 people who were like, we want to play this burning.
yeah, we want to play
whatever
Burning Wheel. And
The thing
there's
is,
like
already think about that was '08, I think.
Yeah.
I think that was
Yeah.
That was our
that
first
was
PAX.
September of '08. So
was good.
it's been like 3-4 years.
That was our
and-
first PAX panel. That was one of the first like fan panels ever at a PAX. That was,
it was fun.
yeah. There's some like crappy video of that panel we ran. I forgot how tiny those rooms used to be at PAX for panels.
I think. Oh, what did they use that room for now? I think that's now like the Magfest stage, right? In that
Yeah.
room. Yeah.
Scott came over to me. He's like, "Yeah, the guy with the hair is gonna do something to keep the crowd from
It was
killing
like
us."
30-something people just kind of lined up going, what is going on? And
Yep. And then by the end, like, it became this legend of PAX.
I got recognized in Grand Central Station leaving a Depeche Mode show. These two kids who were at the Anime Con Kineticon, they recognized me. They were at that con and they recognized me in Grand Central. And as I walked by, I heard, "Hey, is that the Action Castle guy?" And then I turned around and then they do the torch hands and they go, "Action Castle." And I was just like, oh my God.
Isn't that great? Like, because we're all like D-level internet celebrities, like D-list. Like C-list is
perhaps
maybe,
even F-list.
C-list I consider like the bottom of Will Wheaton's fandom. Like we're a level under, if not more. Isn't it really fun when someone recognizes you in like New York? Like you feel
It's
like
weird.
a big man for a few minutes?
No.
I do, but I'm like that.
No.
Okay, thrilling.
Not at all. No.
It's just kind of, it's what it makes me think of, because I think I haven't made a lot of well-known games, but I've made some kind of cool ones. Some I'm really proud of. And it's like, like John Gielgud going, I was in other movies too, besides that Star Wars crap. And, on my tombstone, it's going to be like Action Castle guy. And
what about all the other stuff I did? Yeah.
And then I'm going to say, I'm not dead yet.
So let's talk about it. Of all the games you've made that you can talk about, what's your favorite one? Like, what's the one that you're the most proud of? Not maybe the most popular or successful, the one that you're proud of.
Oh, it's definitely not the most popular or successful. Free Market.
Oh,
yeah.
I really like Free Market.
I really like Free Market too.
The only problem I have with it is that most people only ever experience it as a one-off at a con.
Yeah.
And I feel like advancing the characters is 80% of what I love about that game.
It's awesome. The character advancement system is awesome.
So what do we do to get people to have that experience? Because no one gets that at cons. And I think that's the only reason Free Market isn't like
maybe you could just do like, instead of playing for
the cam. Make a cam of Free Market, like an
No.
official place where you can log your
No.
characters.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is what we should do is instead of playing for 4 hours, right? What you should do is you should make the characters in 1 hour and then end the session every hour so that you get experience points on the hour.
Yeah, I think if I ever do Free Market demos, I'll split the session into 2 parts so people can see how the
Yeah, I'm
the
thinking
system
about doing
works.
that because the reason I want to do that is because something I learned running Free Market at Burning Apocalypse Con is that when the players actually know how it works, right? Because the game I played in, we actually knew how to work it,
Right.
and we basically said it's one session, burn everything,
Right.
Right? We just set all our shit on fire and we dominated, right?
Yeah.
Because they were like, and the first thing we did in the game was make level 3 tech for everybody. So we're like, all right, everyone set it on fire for the rest of the game.
I think that was
But if
that was a
you're-
bullshit rule, by the way.
Right. Well, yeah.
You can't.
We should have
actually
only
do
had
that.
one
You should
instead
have
of
1,
4.
2 at the most if
Right.
you tied. Right.
Well, here,
Or 3 level 1s. But the point is that we we could have just done the challenge 4 times. It would have been the same thing, right? But we, when you're not gonna go into the next session, you don't care about destroying your stuff,
Right.
Right. So
Right.
you can easily win if you just get rid of all your items. Okay.
Well, the answer to that is just if I was the, I haven't done this yet because it'd be a real dick thing to do, but just have the NPC super user characters. What the hell are they called?
Start
I don't
burning
know.
stuff.
But the super user controlled characters, have them burn out stuff.
Oh yeah. See,
Be
that's
like, I have tons of tech that's not even written down. I'm just gonna burn it.
That's one thing that I always have
But
trouble
we're-
with is like when
you
you're
shouldn't do
you're
that.
the super user, right? It's like how what can I act? Do I have gene line? I'm the super user.
You do have gene line.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes it's specific. Like if you're doing a certain kind of challenge, it's like
Right.
you have 2 and 2.
Yeah, here's
And
what you have
sometimes
access
when
to.
it's against yourself, you use the other guy's character sheet. It's
Right.
like, oh, it's thin slicing. It's against yourself. I'll just use whatever's on your sheet. You got gene line. I have it too. But sometimes it's like, what do I have?
Well, there's I mean, you do the little card drawing thing to generate the NPC. So sometimes you have tech, and you can burn it.
Yeah, I always keep forgetting to do that. I
Yeah.
never do the card drawing.
The whole
thing.
printing thing, though, when you were printing, was a bowling ball,
Yeah.
because I overheard your game.
Cheating and bowling.
So the idea with printing is we kind of looked at rapid prototyping right now and just said future. So it's not like I print 1 billion marbles. It's you print 1 perfect marble, because it's not made to mass produce stuff. It's made to rapidly produce one thing. Cultivation is what you'd want if you want 1 million marbles, because you just set up like basically a factory and
But you couldn't print a factory. You'd have to print each.
you could print a
part-
factory that would help you cultivate marbles.
Oh, okay. I got you.
You print 1 factory. People are always like, "Oh, why don't you just make another space station?" I'm like, "Because you can't print the space
Where would
station."
the matter come from? There
Well,
isn't enough
the
matter
old
on the
space
space
station,
station for
clearly.
another space station.
The matter's not a problem. It's just the space. Like, where are you going to store these giant girders? The problem is you'd have to do it like piece by piece by piece. It would take a while. You could totally do it. You could. It's like the MakerBot reproducing itself. It doesn't reproduce a MakerBot. It reproduces all the parts.
What about, see, the problem I've always thought of is, it's like, well, why don't you go out into space? I'm like, if you go out into space, you can't get back in.
Yeah.
You left,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, okay, we're going to build a space station outside. Okay, well, the first guy brings a girder out, and he can't get back in to print the second
You'd
girder.
have drones.
Oh,
or whatever.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Well, that can be a goal. I mean,
You could totally do that in the game.
Yeah, the
it's
game,
like it's just.
It sets up the end game really well because every time I
would
look
just
at a
laugh
con,
because the players wouldn't think of the drones like you did, and someone would
Yeah.
go outside of the space station. I'd be like,
the first thing the characters always ask, like when I'm talking about the game, is, "Can I fucking blow up the space
Yeah.
station? Can
You
I
can
make another
try.
space station? Can I?"
When we were developing this game, one of the guys, because we worked with Hidden City to develop Free Market originally, and one of the guys who worked there was like, "Well, what's to prevent me from making like a rapist, murder, sociopath?"
nothing.
And I said, "Do you want to play a rapist, murder, sociopath?" And he's like, "No." And I said, "Well, that's what's stopping you, your own desire." But somebody could. I'm like, "Yeah, somebody could. So far, nobody has." We've had some weird characters, and we've had some characters who are definitely not sociable.
What's the closest you've come to rapist
The closest
or that you've seen?
The closest game was the group that was essentially they were a cult that were cannibals. They had a religious cult that dealt with eating people,
That's close to what we had.
and they got a ballerina to cut off her feet and eat them.
Whoa.
That was a pretty dark game.
That was okay. So what we did,
Why is it always food? Like the majority of
Okay.
verses I've ever seen are food.
Well, it's the thing that people need.
I've when we played at the first Burning Con, it was similar. It was cannibalism, but it was like gourmet cannibalism.
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
eating yourself
Well,
is so cool.
It's
right? And
transgressive. It's one, you can do it because
Yep.
there's no laws against it. Two, it's you're physically capable of doing it because you can regrow parts or grow parts.
So like
or
they were doing a
reprint.
cooking show, and they got this girl to like cut her, hands off into the pot so they can cook it and serve it up to everyone. And then the aggregates started repairing her hand.
It's sure. I mean, if you lived in the society, you could have a cannibal gourmet cookery show.
Sure.
And some people are like, "Hey, since you can't do that now and there's no way to do that in other role-playing games, let's do that," which is perfectly understandable.
Yeah.
When I play D&D, I want to kill orcs and dragons because I rarely get a chance to do that in real life because, I live in the city.
I feel like this gives free
There are some
market,
dragons in the city. They're just underground with the alligators and the rats.
but it gives free market an opportunity to, I think, not disturb, but like unnerve people when they play. And I think every player can kind of get to this moment where they kind of realize that social strictures maybe don't make sense, or that maybe there is no absolute morality. And I think it can put people into an interesting state of mind.
I played one game where they met the game. It was kind of comical, and there was bees in an opera house, and it was really lighthearted. And then it got real dark real quick, and it involved this woman's grandfather contacting her from the hole, which is the hub, the center of the donut, the center of the space station, saying, "I'm here, pick me up." And she's like,
"My gen," and her grandfather was
dead.
original.
She had a memory of her grandfather from Earth, and she's like,
Whoa.
"What is my grandfather doing? He's dead. What?" So she goes there, and he's there waiting for her. And she's like, and he says, "You're my granddaughter, right?" And she's like, "I'm really confused. What's going on?" And it turns out that some hacker on the space station was just messing with people. He's a switcher, and he was a hacker, and he made this blank. He got genetic material, was able to reproduce her grandfather, gave him some false memories, and let him loose. And she's like, "Why did you do that?" He's like, "I wanted to see what he'd do, and I wanted to see what you'd do." And she's like, "Well, what is he going to do now?" And he says, "That's not up to me. He's a person.
Yeah.
He has his own free will." And she's looking at him like those two things, like, you built this person to play a prank on me, but I'm not responsible for him because he's his own person. Like, there's a moment in the game which we don't specifically talk about, but if you kind of put the pieces together, it's clear that blanks are technology up to a certain point. Blanks, for those people who don't know, are essentially, they're like replicants. They're created humans. They're printed. They're not actually born or grown. They're just output on a matter printer using cells instead of carbon or metal or plastic. And at a certain point, they go from being tech to being a user on the space station. And we never say what you need to do to actually create a blank.
I assumed that. I always thought it was just a printing challenge. Like,
It's
I want to print a blank. It's a really high
I would
flow
assume
cost
you have to
printing
put a memory
challenge.
into it. too.
There's 3 parts of it. There's first you have to print the body.
Right.
Or cultivate the body, I guess.
You
Gross.
could.
Gross. You can.
You need,
does
enough,
that
you need enough
anymore?
data to fill it with memories.
You need data. You need 9 points of data, I think, at
or you can
least.
steal. You can donate memories from
Right.
the people.
Right.
hanging
You have to
around.
fill it full of memories. I have to fill it full of enough memory so I can upgrade those into skills, so that it's not just
It needs at least an experience
It
point.
needs a couple experience at least, and it needs interface. It needs a key to be recognized by the aggregate.
Ah,
so
yeah.
it needs, yeah.
So
I was
that's
like,
a- so
I was
that's a
like, it
mob
doesn't need
challenge.
interface, and I was like, oh wait, yeah, it needs one.
It needs a mobbing
one.
challenge. Yeah. So we kind of gloss over because we just want to see what people do because
Yeah.
we're not sure. But yeah, there's that uncomfortable moment when somebody realizes that one of my favorite reviews of the game was, this game's broken because you should just play a blank because they have 3 gene line. It's the only thing you can't improve. Why would you take anything else? I'm like, yeah, why would you play anything else than a blank? Like, eventually, wouldn't everybody on the space station be a blank? Because eventually people would just, if they're the superior being that we created, wouldn't they surpass us? Isn't that kind of...
Welcome to the plot of the majority of anime that we like.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wait, no, the 4 points you get gene line, which you can't increase, experience, which you can,
Right.
Technology, which you can, and what's the other one?
Interface.
Which you can. Yeah. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Gene line. If you
only
have a
thing
gene line 3,
that you can't level up.
you can't ever improve
I
that.
never thought about it that
And
way.
if you're gene line 2, you can't ever increase to 3. You can decrease down to 1.
But wouldn't, like, 3rd, 4th gen, non-blanks have
Nope.
higher gene line
Nope.
if they
Quids-
ever came around?
Quids are quids, which are the kids, the children of the 2nd gen, the little crazy little
Yep.
geniuses. They're gene line 2.
Wow.
They're human. They've been
Right, but if
born.
you waited long enough, like 6, 7s, maybe they would.
No,
have
because
three?
the idea is a blank is a perfect gene line because
Oh.
you've designed it specific for
So they're
a
not,
function.
so there's not, really genetically engineering the natural babies. They're
There
only-
is. That's why they have a 2, not a
Right.
1. Immigrants in 1st gen have a 1
Right.
because
Man,
they're alive.
Hearing
and then-
about your games, like, actually becoming serious, like, I have a really hard time. Every game I play in or run always ends up silly in some way. It's very
it's
difficult.
a silly
not to
world.
Do so.
It's a crazy. If you lived in that world, it would be silly, but it would also kind of be horrifying, and it would also
I
be
can't seem
kind
to-
of amazing.
I can't seem to bring out the horror. Maybe it's my fault. Probably.
I think it eventually will come when people realize what's at stake.
Now, you also haven't run a campaign. You
That's
haven't
true.
played a game over
maybe
time.
if as you get more sessions, the heart it'd be easier to get away from the silliness.
Maybe when the players start to get to the point where they can do big things have big consequences.
Yeah.
Big consequences lead to big revelations.
Oh, can I have another pad of character sheets? I'm out.
I am all out too. I want extra cards. I'm like,
You need I'll trade you a deck of cards.
no,
can
I don't
do
have
that.
any more character sheets. I just have
There was some
mercy
poor
sheets.
guy at the kind of arguing with Luke. He was like, "What if there's no more? Like, what if I lose my deck and like you're both dead and there's no more free market? Like,
This
what
is
do
a
I
Go
do?"
to the site and print them out.
This is a pre-scarcity game
yeah.
about post-scarcity economy
Print one out.
or pre-post scarcity. Yeah.
Nice. All right.
So let's talk about some of your other games, since you want to, Lacuna, all this old stuff. Does anyone play Lacuna? I mean, we played it
Yeah.
a bunch of times. I
Yeah.
like it.
I get lots of actual play reports, and people. I just sent one off in the mail yesterday to somebody in England.
All right.
nice.
Because as an aside, someone gave me a copy of Lacuna to get you to sign 3 PAXs ago, and I turned and said, "Okay, how should I give it back to you?" And the person already ran away, and I never found them again or saw them. It's
I
still
remember
sitting
that.
there.
I signed it though, right?
Yes, I've still got it.
Yeah.
If you're
So-
that guy,
and you're listening,
or if you're just someone who wants to get a free copy of Lacuna,
if you are that
signed,
guy,
free signed copy.
I remember enough about you to figure out if it's you or not. So
I think it was a guy from a podcast, maybe, or something. Or
might have been a
web-
girl,
or
but I
a
don't remember.
webcomic.
Maybe I
It was
don't.
either a guy or a girl.
I'm pretty sure
That
it was a
narrows it
guy.
down.
At least it wasn't one of those genderless pygmies from the Burning Wheel game I ran at BAC.
Hmm.
So let's talk about just what are you doing lately? You playing any games or listening to any music, watching movies? What's cool for you right now?
Cool for me. I'm spending a lot of time working on Z Ward, and
That's good.
I have a Lacuna 2.
Oh, really?
Lacuna Part
are you just
2.
lying? Or is that for real?
It's for real.
Is that for real?
I've been working.
Is it Return of the Spider-Man? What's the...
No, it's actually it's not a standalone game. It's a source book,
Oh.
and it's
Oh.
the idea is it's a collection of people, places, and things in Blue City. So it's kind of like a little travelogue of Blue City. But it's specifically because I didn't want to just do, because Blue City, the whole idea of it is you don't know what's in it.
There's no map.
There's no set.
It's just right.
So I was like, well, it's going to be lame to do a source book. So I need to do something interesting with it. So what I did is I did 26, originally 26 locations, and they're all the tram stops of the train.
Oh.
So and they're all, the ones that are from the game, like Boxer and Diamond and Abattoir and Cafe and all the stuff from the original game book, and then a whole bunch of new ones. And each is like a page of information about stuff going on in that area. And the idea is there's a corresponding map tile that will go with each tram stop. And during the game, what you'll do is you start with Cafe Station, because that's most of the time that's where you enter the world when you dive into Blue City. And then when you want to take the tram or go to another area, the GM will just grab another tile at random, put it face up, and say, "That's where it is." So I want to
get to whatever station. Well, you don't know how long that's going to take you. Where you're going to end up.
So it's a little bit like those like the newer D&D dungeon crawlers, like the Ravenloft, where you flip the tile to make the next room.
Yeah.
As opposed to having a map that's already
definitely inspired by stuff like that. I played a lot of Ravenloft and a Chardalon.
I played the Ravenloft once, and I was like,
I like
it's not my style.
I'm not into those games, though. I want to make a game that's like that.
Yeah.
We talked about this with Luke, so we'll talk about it with you too.
Yes, I'm aware of this.
Yeah.
I hear about this all the time. But yeah, so and I want to kickstart that. I also want to put in a lot of there's a lot of Easter eggs about, because you need to explain a little bit what the hell's actually going on in Blue City, because I know. So I figured I might share a little bit of that. So there's you can't figure out the mystery just from the book, but it definitely gives you some interesting
I kind of like the idea of no one knowing but you, because everyone I play a game with, they always came up with what the mystery really is.
Yeah.
It's always very similar, but then the twist is different.
Everybody thinks they're right. That's what I like.
I mean,
about
there's the one thing about one of the like mystery agents, like the higher up ones, right? Like there's the list of them in the book, like the big agents, and it's like you sort of see him in the background of the double static page.
Agent Minor.
Right, so you know that's something up with him.
No, nobody asked. Actually, no. One person asked me, "So where is Agent Minor?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, they said he's AWOL, but where's his body?"
Right.
And I'm like, "You're the first person to ask me that."
Then there's sort of the obvious twist, which is like the mystery agents used to be the criminals, and they got cleaned, and now they're the mystery agents.
That is never said in the book.
I know it's not said in the book,
but every game master does that.
I know.
If you actually read the book slowly and carefully, you have to be a moron not to at least come to that conclusion, whether it's true or not. But beyond,
you could come to that conclusion.
I like the face Jared is making at Scott while he's saying all this.
Right.
It's priceless.
But but other than that, it's like there is still plenty of mystery. Like this Spider-Man, what the fuck are they? They're the guys who come at you late in the game when your static's too high. What else? What else are they? I don't know. They're Spider-Man. They're scary looking. They're on the cover of the book. They must be important.
My players get more interested. Like, what is static? Like, they're trying to figure out what that means.
I have no idea. It's
could be Ghost in the Shell. Like
it's a meter. It's a number that tells you how close the Spider-Man are getting.
Well, static was always in the game, but it only had a stat and an actual purpose in the game on the second attempt. In the first attempt, it was just like, okay, be mean to the players and fuck with them and confuse them. And now it's like, okay, be nice to the players until this number starts to go up, and then slowly.
Well, I think that's the magic that makes the game work so well. Is not only do you have that, but it controls the pacing, right? So if you
the heart rate and static both control pacing.
So if you even if the GM knows nothing about good pacing, the numbers are just right. Good pacing can't not happen unless you cheat.
Well, look at all the RPGs we like Burning Wheel, Mouse Guard. These games are all designed to control who gets control of the scene and when. And like in Burning Wheel, people push for things like they want a challenging test to advance or they want a routine test, and that pushes the story toward these ebbs and flows. Yeah. And Mouse Guard is the system of checks, like earning checks by fucking myself.
Right. Now's the point in the game where things get really complicated because I want 2 checks instead of 1, so I'm going to break the tie-in.
I've never seen a Mouse Guard game where a player uses a check against them and the entire rest of the table doesn't go, no.
Yeah. Well, you don't need those 2 dice. What? Yeah, they're probably going to roll 1s anyway. So yeah, Lacuna Part 2. I'm not sure when that's going to come out. 2012, I guess. I've been busy with Z-Ward. I'm going to kickstart it. And one of the things I'm going to do with the book, it's going to be a book, a PDF, and I want to do tiles. I want to do cool map tiles.
I want your tiles.
I want to do really nice ones. So, I haven't worked at the details, but the deal is, PDF downloads that you can print out yourself at the low levels and at the high levels. If I raise enough money, I'll do really sweet. I'd like to do like Small
Carcassonne.
World style
Yeah.
cards chipboard with the linen cover stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Small World, by the way, one of my favorite games.
Small World's good. Have you played the Underground?
I haven't. I
have
want
not
to.
either.
Have you
So-
played the original Vinci?
No.
Oh.
Because Vinci is kind of an abstracted version that's really fun,
Right.
but the fundamental difference is that there's no restrictions on what can combine with what. It's just two things, so you
Right.
can have like crazy, weird powers that don't
sometimes
make sense.
cheat.
Well, Small
And-
World, you don't. There's no restrictions.
There
are
is in Small World, for
Race,
example, there's race
ability.
and ability. In Vinci,
Oh,
it's
you
just
could
a
have, like-
bag. It's just a bag of
Oh,
squares.
okay.
Well, you're like regeneration or like medicine and barbarians.
Okay, so to be like in Small World, if you grabbed orcs and spirits,
Exactly,
or orcs
exactly.
and Amazon,
The
Amazon
other thing
orcs
is
would be awesome.
there's no number of turns. There's a number of victory points.
Okay.
If anyone goes over that, the game ends at the end of that turn. So you see this weird like posturing for
Yeah.
position as
People,
the game goes on.
in Small World, it's like it's going to end, so that means I know I should decline on this turn, right?
Right.
Because I want to decline 2 turns before the end of the game, so I come back into the board the turn before the last turn.
Unless you have
Whereas
like
in Vinci,
Yep.
I
something.
decline when I think we're 3 turns away from the end, and
Right.
somebody else purposefully delays to bring in an extra turn, and now I have 1 low-scoring turn, and for them it's a high-scoring turn.
so
and
Vinci is the Small World as like Pandemic is to
they're
Forbidden
made
Island.
by the same
Yeah,
right.
actually, kinda.
They're made by the
That's a
same
good way to
guy,
put it.
and basically Vinci, not only does it have some problems with it, but it had a lot of misprints and the production
Right.
quality was low. He really wanted to redo it. He put the Small World theme on it, which made it sell.
Small World. I mean, the
And-
game itself is beautiful.
It is
It's
very nice.
gorgeous.
Vinci is ugly. Vinci's just colored in little googly tiles.
Yeah,
I like the skeletons a lot.
skeleton. Oh, I just it's.
I like how
awesome.
the fishmen have like basically a fish bone. As
Yeah,
their
yeah, yeah.
icon.
The icons are great. Like everything about the game is
I
just
like the
really
troll
cool.
the troll layers. Those are some of my favorite.
Yeah, the pieces are all real. I like the fact that even the mountains, even though I'm like, when I first started playing, I'm like, why are there mountain pieces if the mountains are on the board?
Yep, and at first I thought, oh, it's because that way everything is tokenized, but forests aren't, and that pissed me off for like an hour.
Mm.
Like I was trying to figure out why, and I couldn't, and it really bothered me.
Well, because the mountains are tokens, they count as a,
But forests count as defense.
they don't. No.
Oh, they did in Vinci. See,
No.
here's the problem we
Did you
had.
fuck it up?
Here's the problem we had.
No.
We know Vinci inside and out, and this game is very close to it.
It's like 99%.
But there are
the same
such
game.
tiny differences
Right.
that we never know the answer to any specific question.
Some of the forests have the like little magic gem for wizards. That's what they
Actually,
have.
Burning Wheel Gold and Burning Wheel Revised, I'm having the same problem. I'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, duh, +1, and then everyone at the table's like, no.
I do that when we do like when we were playtesting Free Market or when I'm playtesting, actually if I'm doing like a parsley game from memory and it hasn't actually come out yet. Sometimes I'm like, which version of the game am I running right now? But
All right. So
that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean,
So wait, but you're kickstarting, the Z Ward now, and you're gonna kickstart the Lacuna 2
Yep.
when it's ready. Like how do you think like the Kickstarter will dry up? Like how often can you kickstart?
Well, I want to do one. I decided I'm going
That's
to do.
what I would be worried about if I was Kickstarter.
Yeah, like Kickstarter is awesome for me right now for my my constraints that I'm dealing with. It's really good, and it's also really cool because it's I've done pre-orders on Parsley games before, and it was like 30 people, yay! I got 200 people. It's weird.
there's a culture around Kickstarter.
There's
that,
a culture-
like, adds to the momentum.
Exactly, and it's also a nice affirmation. I'm getting lots of emails from people saying, "Yay, I love these games. I played this game at PAX, or I played this game in Kineticon or Gen Con."
Well, hey, you're like, I'll say this. We run the panels department at Kineticon, workshops, all that stuff. You and Luke, other than us, are the most asked about people who come to the con.
yeah. Well, we kill.
You do.
I had
hard not
almost
to.
500 people in my room at PAX East
Ooh.
for Action Castle, which is just stupid.
I had like
you
10,
to PAX East again?
10 or
Yeah.
15
Yeah.
emails ahead of the previous Kineticon just asking, hey, will the Action Castle guy be there? Hey, will that text adventure thing be there?
Yeah.
Hey, will it be there? What room is it in? Do I have to line up early for it?
Yes, you do have to line up early for it.
Do you want to go to MagFest?
Yeah,
Come to MagFest.
pay me. I'll go.
You can crash in our room.
I'll buy you a $20 Bolt Bus ticket and a hotel
where is
hotel floor
It's
near
in DC.
Virginia, DC area.
When is it?
The week after New Year's. So New Year's
I
next
could
week.
probably do that.
It's a 4-day con.
It's
Thursday,
4
Friday,
days,
Saturday,
Thursday, Friday,
Sunday.
Saturday, Sunday.
I could rock it.
It's music
It's
like
24/7
kind
Yeah.
of music, like
Yeah,
Photo
yeah,
Man.
yeah.
Okay.
You guys have been pimping this for a while. I'm interested. I'd totally
It's
go.
way fun. I can't speak for getting you on panels or anything. It's a little late for that, but there's a gaming intellectuals. We're part of the Mag 9, like 9 gaming
Is it
intellectuals.
still the Mag 9? Wouldn't it be the Mag? First of all, it's the 10th Mag
Well,
Fest.
one, you and I together count as one person. For the
Right.
math.
So there's also, it's the 10th Mag Fest. So wouldn't it be the Mag 10 now?
But
or
it was
is it even 10 people anymore?
I think it's like 11 people. There's going to be. We just got the list of. We're on 2. I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything. Yet.
Whatever.
We're on 2 discussions.
We're tentatively on 2. There you go.
Well, we're definitely on 2. I just don't know if I'm
I
allowed
would totally
to
do
say.
it if I could get on panels and.
I'm saying I don't know if I can swing.
Well,
'cause
if
we
you
don't-
could, I'm just saying.
I
I'm
could
interested.
We could. We
for
would.
next year.
Let's take this. Let's table this and take it offline.
We can
All right.
introduce you to the person who runs the stuff, and he will probably want you to do stuff. And I'm sure, because it's a really open con, like we were running like just Bernie Wheel and Mouse Guard and like Danger Patrol games for people just randomly the whole con. You could just walk into an open area, start doing Action Castle. You'd have a crowd of like 100 within
And
10
no one
minutes.
would care. It's not like PAX with the enforcers would be like, "Excuse me, can you move to
Or
a place?"
Origins where they just don't let you do it.
Right. People would just be like, "Whatever."
I mean, there's guys just like jamming on electric guitars like outside the hotel, and no one cares.
We'll see. Maybe this hotel will be more stuffy than the last one.
We'll see.
Also, elevator party.
Better not fucking happen. Oh my god, I hate that shit.
Also,
Elevator
is our friend coming back? John St. John. his
I
hotel
assume
room?
that John St. John will be there.
This is a bigger hotel, so maybe he can break his hotel room party record. We'll see.
All right. I think we can wrap this up. So, one last question. What is the
Sure.
last movie that you've seen all the way through? Any movie. I'm just curious.
That would have been.
Because I just
Jeopardy, the movie.
because I just, the movie that M. Night Shyamalan tried to make about Avatar that then he died in that car accident and they didn't finish it may
That's
have
so
been on
sad.
Netflix streaming, and I may have showed Emily why it was so bad.
Oh.
And
I thought you saw that movie already.
I saw it all the way through. It's the second worst movie I've ever seen.
Why did you
to
watch it a
completion.
second time?
I didn't watch it. I went to 3 scenes. I showed her Fire Lord Ozo is a chubby dude.
Okay.
It's a bunch of white people living in the Arctic
Race
who,
bender, right?
who spend 15 minutes explaining backstory without showing you any.
Yeah.
And what did I show? Oh, I showed her the scene where Katara runs across the entire wide screen over the course of like 3 seconds to girlishly shove a guy.
Nice.
It's the worst scene in any movie I've ever seen.
I saw Halloween night. I saw Phantasm,
Ah.
the original.
Oh, very nice.
Which, if you haven't seen it, it's very weird.
Okay.
Scott's not up on a lot of the like those kinds of movies.
Listen, I'm going through the IMDb top 250. I just watched Rebecca, so I'm almost done with page 2.
Top 250. What's in there?
A lot.
Is the original House on Haunted Hill and or Vincent Price's? Is any Vincent Price movie in there?
I have no idea.
All right.
I haven't seen him yet, and I'm on page 2.
Ah,
Maybe Edward Scissorhands.
I don't think that's on there.
really?
That's I don't know.
250.
I don't know.
I'd have to guess it'd be up there. It was.
I like that movie. It's one
Yeah.
of Tim Burton's movies that I do like.
Plus, it was when it came out. It was kind of like
It scared me when I was a
It's
kid.
weird how like
actually.
edgy and slightly controversial it was. Kind of like how The Simpsons used to be like our cartoon parents were afraid of.
Right.
All right.
This has been Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geek Nights is not 1, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.